Experiment. To obtain a pure sample of benzoic acid from an impure sample by the technique of recrystallization. In this experiment, we will use a technique called recrystallization to purify a sample of impure benzoic acid. Benzoic acid is a crystalline substance that contains molecules of formula C6H5COOH. The process of recrystallization is the most common method used to separate a solid material from solid impurities. The term recrystallization is used because we are starting off with the crystalline material, removing the impurities and making new crystals. The sample of benzoic acid you see here is contaminated with charcoal. Place approximately 1 gram of benzoic acid in a beaker. Using a graduated cylinder, add about 10 centimeters cubed portions of water to the beaker. Place the beaker on a hot plate and boil the water. Continue to add 10 centimeter cube portions of water to the boiling water in the beaker until the benzoic has dissolved. That is, until you can no longer see any of the white solid. Only the specks of impurity, example charcoal, will be visible in the water. While heating the water, keep the solution well stirred with the aid of a stirring rod. The impure benzoic acid is dissolved in the minimum amount of hot water. This is done in order to get a solution which is almost saturated at the boiling point of the solvent. That is, the water contains the maximum amount of dissolved benzoic acid. While the solution is boiling, hold a Buchner funnel by its stem and heat it by immersing it in a beaker of hot water. The funnel is heated to prevent crystallization taking place while the hot solution is being filtered. We want the benzoic acid to remain in solution. Set up the Buchner flask, funnel and vacuum pump as shown. Place a filter paper in the Buchner funnel. Turn on the water supply to operate the vacuum pump. Moisten the filter paper slightly to help it stick to the Buchner funnel. Using a beaker tongs or suitable gloves to hold the hot beaker, quickly filter the boiling solution by pouring it into the Buchner funnel. If crystals form on the filter paper, add a small amount of boiling water to dissolve them so that they pass through the filter paper. The hot, almost saturated solution is now filtered in order to remove any insoluble impurities. This filtration must be done quickly to prevent crystallization during the filtration process. Note the impurities that are left behind on the filter paper. Stop suction either by lifting the Buckner funnel and stopper out of the Buckner flask or by disconnecting the rubber tubing to the filter pump. If you turn off the tap, you may get a suck back of water into the Buckner flask. Note the impurities that are left behind on the filter paper. Take out the filter paper and discard it in the rubbish bin. Transfer the filtered solution, called the filtrate, to a glass beaker and cool it by running cold water from the tap over the sides of the flask. If ice is available, stand the beaker in iced water for a few minutes. On allowing the hot solution, called the filtrate, to cool, crystallization takes place and crystals of pure benzoic acid are formed. If these crystals are slow to form, scratching the inside of the beaker with a glass rod speeds up the crystallization process. Using a conical flask, funnel and filter paper, filter off the white crystals. If necessary, rinse out the beaker with filtrate, not extra water, to help you transfer all of the crystals. Wash the crystals on the filter paper with a few drops of cold water. Spread the damp filter paper containing the crystals on a clock glass. Allow the crystals to air dry until the next practical class, when the melting point of these crystals will be measured.